high school teacher. Kobe plays Samantha, who's a high school teacher, and she gets pregnant at the same time as one of her students, and that's Gail, plays Jasmine. So they get pregnant sort of at the same time, both unexpectedly. And then we kind of watch them form a relationship and kind of go through those pregnancies together. It's a personal story. I used to be a high school teacher. I taught on the west side of Chicago. And so a lot of it comes from my experiences there. And then I've also been pregnant. I have a 4-year-old. So yeah, it comes from sort of those experiences. And then once these guys were cast, we all really talked a lot, especially Kobe and I, who's also a mom, about sort of our feelings, our anxieties about motherhood, and we really sort of worked that into the script.
Yeah, I was like, Chris, trust me, this is mine. I've gotten pregnant, so I can do this movie with you. It just happened that way, and it was a funny thing because it was very helpful at sometimes, and then other times it was like I was too small and we had to add a bit of belly, and then sometimes it was too big, so we had to hide the belly. Yeah. So it was a bit of a dance with my tummy. But yeah, it definitely lent itself to the character and what she was going through throughout the process.
But it also showed an alternate way as to you don't have to just think, okay, I'm pregnant and my life is over. I like how my character, Jasmine, was very strong-minded. And she believed, like, this isn't the end of the world for me. I can still be great. And, just the dynamics between their relationship. So I do feel that the film, the message that it sends is, like, there's a way to still succeed, like, in spite of. And sometimes you have people in your life that they just don't understand. I don't feel that Samantha was intentionally trying to like destroy Jasmine or anything, or make her get an abortion or make her go other ways with her pregnancy. But I do feel like she just didn't understand because her norm is different, and that happens in America. We come from different norms. So.
Why don't I start with how I was working with Chris? It was awesome.
Yes.
It was like, it was just like a fun, loose set, and like Kobe was saying, I had seen her short, and I knew I was in good hands. But then, so as far as like John's character, he's pretty much just like a guy who wants to be the support system. But he was also a guy who, there was a dynamic where that seemed very relatable to me. My wife and I just had a kid, and she was a working woman, and like that's very important to her and her identity. And do you stay home and just raise a kid, or do you continue working? Do you get a nanny? Like that whole balance, I was like, oh, this is my life. And so just to kind of step into the role of John was pretty easy because I've had all these arguments. You know what I mean? I've been in all these situations.
I also think the interesting thing about your character was like, you were never the bad guy, because he was always just sort of saying the truth of like, this is the situation. Yeah. And it was a really interesting way to have him always kind of there to like set this grounding tone.
But that was what's so great about both of you, is that you're both just doing that. I mean, you're both, they have some conflict in their marriage over this pregnancy. It wasn't planned. And sort of their conflict lies in that Andre's character just sort of feels like, well, it makes the most sense that you would stay home with this baby. And Kobe has a difficult time sort of just settling into that. One
of the major things is the dynamic between the two women in it, between the character of Jasmine and the character of Samantha. It's basically two women who are in the same situation but under very different circumstances, and to watch them deal with it personally and then also help each other through it. It was a very inspiring story. It was something that I related to a lot, and then after meeting Chris and also watching her short, which she shot, which was amazing, it just seemed like it was going to be such a fun project to get on board with.
So I was sort of, I was craving these stories about pregnancy. There's not that many, considering that everyone is like born from a woman.
Yeah. Consider that, and then
weirdly,
and then look at the movies.
There's not that many movies about pregnancy, and a lot of them are from male perspectives. Mm-hmm. There's like, knocked up Even She's Having a Baby, which I love, and I made everybody watch while we were in pre-production, is from the male perspective. You know, Father of the Bride 2. I was like, wow, there's all of these movies. 9 Months. A lot of movies about pregnancy. It's from the male perspective, and I thought, wow, that's so interesting, and kind of a shame. You know, I think it's great that those exist, but there should be at least as many from the female's perspective.